look like Paige Bueckers has broken her silence about this matchup against Caitlin Clark.
I played a game against Caitlin in the W. Just what was it like? What was the atmosphere like today going head to head with her?
Yeah, it's fun. Anytime we can compete against each other. We're two competitors who just want to win and who have grown up to be playing against each other, playing with each other. So it's great, and the environment's great here. I feel like every game is just sell out, and so they have a great home court advantage. So overall, yeah, great environment.
Paige Bueckers, I'm gonna be real. You did your thing. You nice. You did your thing, but you're not Caitlin Clark. Let's just be clear. You're not Caitlin Clark.
And by the way, she is the best whistle in the WNBA. She hacked Sophie Cunningham and somehow was given as an offensive foul, and she fouled Caitlin Clark on a fast break. Caitlin went flying into the rim post, and the refs just ignored it.
This game was an absolute blowout. Dallas Wings didn't know what hit them. Everybody ate in this game. Let's just jump right into it.
Caitlin Clark delivered a dominant performance against Paige Bueckers in their first ever WNBA matchup, and the result wasn't even close. While the rookie Paige Bueckers managed to put up 21 points, it was Clark's all-around brilliance that stole the spotlight. She finished with 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals in a commanding 102-83 victory that left no doubt about who controlled the game from start to finish. This matchup didn't just highlight the difference between two rising stars. It showed why Caitlin Clark is already being called a generational talent, while Bueckers is still working to find her place in the league.
All this Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers comparisons, it's not a comparison. Paige Bueckers got a lot of work to do. She's a good player. She got a lot of work to do. She need to get her team to the playoffs. Once she get her team to the playoffs, we can holler. All you Angel Reese fans out there, once she get her team to the playoffs, we can holler. Until then, Caitlin came in and got the worst team in the league directly to the playoffs off the bat. Started out 1-8, went to the playoffs, man.
Paige Bueckers has been going through growing pains while she's been down there in Dallas. They have a 6-16 record, and they simply cannot figure out a way to get it done. Now, ultimately, she performed, man. She played at a very high level. She had 21 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. She was shooting phenomenal from 3. Paige put up a good fight, but ultimately her team just fell short.
If you've been following social media, you probably saw this matchup hyped as the next great rivalry in women's basketball. 2 #1 picks, 2 future superstars, a showdown that fans believed would shape the league for years to come. But what actually unfolded on the court told a very different story. What we witnessed wasn't a rivalry, it was a clear and calculated dismantling. And here's the part that might surprise you. Caitlin Clark's 13 assists came with just 2 turnovers. That stat alone tells you everything about how she controlled this game. It wasn't chaotic, it wasn't lucky, it was surgical. Clark ran the offense with the precision of someone who made the defense look like it belonged at the high school level.
Let's look at these numbers, man. Caitlin Clark, 14 points, 13 assists. I scored in the game. I scored in the game, bro. Like, come on, man. Just magnificent passing. Only 2 turnovers. She's only had 4 turnovers total in the last 2 games. Really think about that. 24 assists to 4 turnovers in the last 2 games. Okay. okay.
Caitlin Clark, I'm not joking when I say this. Caitlin Clark is Demon Caitlin's back. Demon Caitlin's back. Caitlin swats JJ Quinterly. Watch this here. She swats Quinterly. She screams in Quinterly's face. She then gets the ball, looks straight up, and throws an inch perfect pass to Sophie Cunningham for a layup. If she throws that pass 2 inches lower, it's stolen. 2 inches lower and that pass is stolen. Like, that is something that no other player in this league can do.
That's what we're talking about when we are referring to Caitlin Clark running the show.
Is this what Stephanie White needs to see? To finally say to herself, oh, all right.
But here's where things get even more interesting. What fans didn't see on the broadcast is just as important as what happened on the scoreboard. Everyone watching saw the blowout. But behind the scenes, Caitlin Clark was playing a different kind of game, one built on confidence, control, and psychological pressure. Every steal, every assist, every defensive stop wasn't just about winning possessions. It was about breaking Dallas's spirit. And it worked. But there's another layer to this performance the WNBA would rather keep quiet. If you're just as fascinated by Caitlin Clark's rise to dominance as we are, make sure to hit that like button and drop a comment saying, Fever Frenzy, if you're ready to see her take over this league.
New York Liberty, we can beat them. We already did. The Minnesota Lynx, we can beat them. We already did. We already did. We can beat anybody if we play in this Caitlin Clark style. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. There ain't a point guard in the world that could mess with her at all. At all. It's not even close.
The Indiana Fever dictated when they run like this. I don't believe there is a team in this league that can beat the Indiana Fever at
And
all.
Hull will
Let's
bring it
go.
up.
Hull. Lexi Hull coming down the right here. She's got the ball. She's going to take a step back, way downtown. Bam. She got it. She got it. She got it.
You're watching a player who missed time this season with an injury completely dominate an opponent who's been healthy all year. Think about that for a second. Caitlin Clark sat out 5 games dealing with a groin injury. Yet here she is in just her second season, continuing to rewrite the record books. All while making a Rookie of the Year contender look average by comparison. But what makes this even more impressive, and why some people around the league are starting to get nervous, is what happened in the first half alone. Scoring 64 points in a half isn't just breaking a franchise record, it's sending a clear message. This wasn't Clark simply trying to win another game. This was Clark reminding every veteran who spent her rookie season trying to humble her. She's not backing down. And you can be sure that message was received, loud and clear.
The Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. The game wasn't close past the first quarter. We're up by 1 in the first quarter, and that second quarter, we destroy the Dallas Wings in that second quarter. That second quarter, we're, oh man, absolutely bombing away. That second quarter, Aaliyah Boston, 7 points. Natasha Howard, 10 points. Caitlin Clark, 5 assists in a second quarter. When her assist numbers are high in a quarter, you know they're playing Caitlin Clark style basketball. You know they're pushing the pace, pushing the tempo.
I'm surprised Stephanie White didn't have a heart attack. I'm surprised she didn't bench all the starters coming out of the half. I'm glad she didn't. Seriously.
If we take the second half against the Atlanta Dream and the first half against the Dallas Wings, that is a 40-minute span of what looks like Caitlin Clark basketball.
What happened next shows exactly why there are people who quietly hope Caitlin Clark doesn't succeed. The media tried to push a rivalry narrative that simply wasn't real. For months, they hyped up this supposed battle between a second-year star and a rookie, Paige Bueckers, as if Bueckers posed some real threat to Clark's dominance. But then, fans watched Clark completely dismantle that storyline over the course of 40 minutes. And here's the part that should really make you think twice about how this narrative was framed. The efficiency numbers speak for themselves. 13 assists with only 2 turnovers. Clark wasn't just finding open teammates. She was creating opportunities that didn't exist until the ball was in her hands. That's the difference between a player who's simply good and a player who's changing the game entirely. And there's a reason why some analysts won't highlight these numbers.
Playmaking. Y'all see the playmaking, bro? The backdoor passes. Come on, once the 3-ball start rolling again, y'all really in trouble. You see the post game posting up Lil Quinterly. Spin off of her step back. Midi. Y'all said she didn't have a midi. Okay.
When Caitlin has the ball, they are the best show in basketball. And it's easier for Kelsey Mitchell. It's easier for Aaliyah. It becomes easier for Natasha Howard if she buys in. It's easier for Sophie. It's easier for everybody. And then when you've got Ari McDonald, who showed today, by the way, that when Caitlin is off the floor, she can push the tempo too. That is exactly what we wanted.
Caitlin Clark running the offense, being the innovator of offense, the distributor of offense for the Indiana Fever. This is exactly what we mean right here.
Let's not forget, this is the same player who opened the 2025 season with a dominant triple-double against the Chicago Sky. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, along with 4 blocks and 2 steals, in a 93-58 blowout that sent a clear message to the entire league. While other players were still shaking off the off-season rust, Caitlin Clark was already performing at a speed and level that made everyone else look a step behind. And the historical significance of what we're witnessing here can't be overstated. After averaging 19.2 points and 8.4 assists per game in her record-breaking rookie season, Clark isn't slowing down. She's building on that success in her second year, elevating her game while rewriting the WNBA's record books in real time. Veterans who've been in this league for over a decade are watching a 23-year-old redefine what's possible.
Clark is now has the 5th most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA history. All right, now to put that into some context, she's played 1 year plus into this season, and she's missed 10 games. Think about that for a moment.
Caitlin Clark has reached 200 points and 100 assists this season, the fastest to do so in a single season in WNBA history. Oh yeah, folks, this feels like last year, right? Caitlin Clark broke this record, Caitlin Clark broke that record, she hops into the top 5 here. Oh yeah. Today's game was at least that first half. Woo! Folks, just watch. Let me cook. Let me operate. That's what Caitlin Clark said.
Caitlin Clark showed why she's the best guard in this league. Caitlin Clark showed why, when you give her the ball, the Fever are the best show in basketball.
The true impact of Caitlin Clark's dominance goes far beyond just numbers on a stat sheet. But what it really exposes is something deeper about the current state of the WNBA. This is the same league that, during Clark's rookie year, seemed more interested in tearing her down than lifting her up, despite having the most marketable star in its history right in front of them. Instead of embracing her, veterans openly complained about the attention she received. Media voices questioned whether she truly deserved the hype. And time after time, it seemed like officials allowed opponents to target her physically without consequence. Rather than celebrating a player who could elevate the entire league, the initial instinct from many was to try to humble her. But look at the transformation of the Indiana Fever as the clearest example of Caitlin Clark's impact. Before she arrived, this was a franchise widely regarded as a laughingstock, the kind of team fans referenced when talking about dysfunction and failure. Now, they're breaking franchise records for scoring. They're selling out arenas across the country, and they're playing a style of basketball that makes it feel like the rest of the league is simply fighting for second place. Clark's influence extends far beyond her own stat lines. Look at her teammates' performances in that statement win over Dallas. Kelsey Mitchell dropped 20 points on 67% shooting. Natasha Howard added 18 points along with 2 steals. The entire roster looked energized, playing with freedom and confidence. That's what happens when you have a player who doesn't just score, but makes everyone around her better. And those assist numbers? They should have led every sports broadcast. 29 team assists, just one shy of tying the franchise record, with Clark responsible for nearly half of them. This isn't just about scoring. It's about elevating her teammates to play at levels they didn't even know they were capable of. The ripple effect of Clark's presence turns role players into key contributors, and good players into stars. What's especially glaring about how Clark was treated during her rookie season is how it contrasts with the WNBA's ongoing struggle for greater visibility and mainstream relevance. For years, the league has desperately needed a breakout star, and now that they have one, who can organically capture national attention without relying on drama or controversy? There were voices who chose to fight against her rather than support her. The financial impact of Clark's presence cannot be ignored. Wherever she plays, attendance spikes. Television ratings soar. Games featuring the Indiana Fever have quickly become must-watch television. And the difference in ratings when Clark plays versus when she doesn't tells you everything you need to know about who's really driving interest in women's basketball right now. Defensively, Clark's performance against Dallas showed yet another layer to her game. 5 steals don't happen by luck. They come from a player with next-level understanding, reading plays before they even unfold. She's not just defeating opponents with her offense, she's dismantling their game plans before they can even execute them. The way Clark dictated the tempo exposed yet another flaw in her critics' arguments. Once upon a time, people labeled her as just a shooter, a product of college hype. But what we saw was a player who controlled every aspect of the game's flow. She decided when to speed things up, when to slow it down, and exactly when to deliver the crushing blows that left opponents looking completely defeated. Perhaps the most telling part of this matchup between Clark and Paige Bueckers is how it revealed the media's role in constructing narratives that simply weren't based in reality. For months, headlines tried to sell this as the next great rivalry, painting Bueckers as a challenger to Clark's dominance. But over the course of 40 minutes, Clark dismantled that narrative piece by piece. It was as if the entire league saw what was happening but chose to look the other way. Caitlin Clark's latest performance wasn't just impressive because of the numbers. It was the context that made it truly remarkable. Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White had been vocal about one thing. Her team needed consistency. They needed to build momentum, to string strong performances together if they wanted to compete with the best. And Caitlin Clark answered that challenge. Not just meeting expectations, but delivering one of the most dominant all-around performances we've seen in recent Wnba history. Clark's display wasn't just about basketball. It was about sending a message. A message to every team across the league. This is what you're up against. The precision with which she controlled every possession, the ease with which she racked up assists, the effortless defensive plays, it all added up to a performance that was as psychological as it was physical. What made this outing even more impressive? Clark didn't even shoot particularly well. She went 4 for 12 from the field and just 2 for 7 from beyond the arc. Despite her struggles scoring, she still controlled the entire game. That's the mark of a true superstar, someone who can dominate without relying solely on putting points on the board. The Fever's offense ran through Clark, and in doing so, showcased a blueprint for how modern, high IQ basketball should be played. She wasn't collecting assists through easy passes. She was manipulating defenses, creating opportunities through constant ball movement, through reading the game multiple steps ahead. Her vision made the Dallas Wings look like they were playing catch-up in a game they couldn't win. Clark's basketball IQ was on full display, revealing layers of understanding most players never reach. And the impact of that game goes far beyond just one matchup. Opposing teams now have to game plan specifically for Caitlin Clark in ways they don't for any other player. Her presence alone reshapes the floor, opening lanes and opportunities for her teammates that wouldn't exist without her gravity. Simply put, she's not just a player, she's a force multiplier. She makes everyone around her better, elevating her teammates, her coaches, and even the franchise itself. The timing of Clark's rise couldn't be better for the WNBA. This is a league that's been searching for a star capable of transcending the sport, someone who could bring in new fans and capture the attention of the broader sports world. And now they have that player. Clark isn't just meeting expectations, she's surpassing them. Yet, instead of fully embracing this moment, some within the league and media circles seem hesitant. Petty jealousy and old narratives still linger. Rather than celebrating how Clark is elevating the entire WNBA, too many voices remain focused on minimizing her impact. Look at how she handled the pressure in her first professional showdown with Paige Bueckers. Clark could have settled for a solid performance and called it a day. Instead, she delivered a statement performance that left absolutely no doubt about who was in control. That killer instinct, that refusal to just win, but to dominate, is what separates good players from generational talents. Even the way defenses now adjust to Clark shows how she's changing the game. Opponents have to account for her range, her vision, and her ability to orchestrate an offense. She forces teams to play a style that suits her strengths, whether they like it or not. And yet, despite this dominance, much of the media coverage focused elsewhere. Some pointed to Bueckers' 21 points as if that was the story. Others tried to downplay the significance of what Clark just accomplished. But in truth, those reactions say far more about existing biases than they do about Caitlin Clark's performance. What we witnessed wasn't just another game. It was a clear reminder of how one player can reshape the conversation around an entire league. The long-term impact of a performance like this can't be overstated. Caitlin Clark is still early in her WNBA career, yet she's already playing at a level that leaves no question. She's the best player in the league right now. And what's even more remarkable, the gap between her and the rest of the field isn't closing. It's getting wider with each passing game. Other players across the league are being forced to reevaluate their entire approach just to keep pace with what Clark brings to the court. Not just as a scorer, but as a playmaker, a leader, and a game changer on both ends of the floor. What's even more telling is how her teammates are responding to her leadership. That game offered a glimpse into the future of the Indiana Fever. When role players begin performing like stars simply because they're inspired by their leader's example, that's the moment when a good team evolves into something truly great. Indiana's championship window isn't just open. It's been blown wide open. The records Clark is approaching at this pace will require updates to the history books. Her rare combination of scoring, facilitating, and defensive impact is something we haven't seen before in the WNBA. And she's putting up these numbers while drawing a level of physical attention most players would struggle to withstand. That durability, both mentally and physically, is exactly what separates legends from everyone else. But Caitlin Clark's impact extends far beyond basketball. She's become a symbol of excellence, resilience, and how to rise above criticism with performance. Young athletes watching her journey are learning a valuable lesson. The best response to doubters is to achieve success so undeniable that any criticism becomes irrelevant. That's a principle that reaches far beyond the court. The way she's handled her transition from college to the pros should serve as a blueprint for future stars. Rather than crumbling under the weight of expectations, Clark has embraced them and used that pressure to fuel her continued rise. That type of mental toughness is rare at any level of sport. There's a certain irony in how the league treated her during her rookie year. The WNBA had a generational star in its hands, a player capable of elevating the league's profile to new heights. Yet early on, instead of supporting her, some tried to tear her down. That short-sighted approach could have cost the league its best chance at long-term growth. Now it's clear, the Indiana Fever are building their entire future around maximizing Clark's unique talents. And the early results suggest they've found a formula that could lead to dominance for years to come. Other teams aren't just competing with Indiana anymore. They're going up against history in the making. The legacy implications of games like this one against Dallas are massive. Clark isn't just building an impressive resume. She's redefining the standards by which future players will be measured. This combination of individual brilliance and team success is exactly what a transformational superstar looks like. In the end, that 102-83 blowout over the Dallas Wings wasn't simply a win, it was a statement. Clark wasn't just outplaying Paige Bueckers. She was showing the entire league why she operates in a different stratosphere. The WNBA may have spent her rookie season trying to humble her, but here's the truth. Greatness can't be silenced by doubt or jealousy. It can only be acknowledged, respected, and ultimately celebrated. At this point, the question isn't whether Caitlin Clark will continue to dominate. It's whether the rest of the league will finally recognize the incredible opportunity they've been given.